The Terra Classic cryptocurrency created by Do Kwon does not classify as a security, a South Korean district court ruled in February after a similar ruling back in November last year. South Korean prosecutors requested a judgment from the country's Supreme Court after the latest ruling. Both Kwon's attorneys and a South Korean court have not contested whether Luna Classic counts as a security, per reports. The US SEC said LUNC was a security in a fraud lawsuit against Do Kwon in February week before his arrest by Montenegrin police. The Terra Classic cryptocurrency created by Do Kwon does not classify as a security, a South Korean district court ruled in February after a similar ruling back in November last year. According to South Korean news house Ileo Shinmun, the Seoul Southern District Court ruled twice on the matter, once on November 15 and again on February 16. Both instances were reported for the first time today, the reason being unclear. Based on the data submitted by the prosecution, it is difficult to say that Luna falls under the financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act. Seoul Southern District Court. Prosecutors in South Korea are now seeking a judgment from the country's Supreme Court on whether the renamed Luna Classic, or LUNC, is a security under the Capital Markets Act. Authorities are unable to seize assets controlled by Daniel Shin following the ruling. Shin, co-founder of Terraform Labs, was the focus of an asset manhunt where prosecutors hoped to seize $100 million for Shin's alleged part in Terra's $40 billion crash. Do Kwon's LUNC a security or not? Authorities debate. South Korean authorities seemingly consider establishing Terra Classic security status as a front boiler topic in the case against Do Kwon. Kwon's lawyers have also contested claims that LUNC is a security, albeit arguing that they are not to disarm authorities intending to sue Kwon for securities fraud. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission also called Do Kwon's Terra Classic a security in a fraud lawsuit filed against Kwon in February. According to the SEC, LUNC and its sister token Terra USD, UST, Kwon's algorithmic stablecoin, qualify as securities as investors held expectations of profit from secondary-party efforts. Terra's native cryptocurrency, LUNC, was deemed not a security by the Seoul Southern District Court in a court case involving former Terraform Labs co-CEO Hyun Shin. South Korean authorities are making headway in their regulatory classification of cryptocurrencies. According to local news outlet Ileo Shinmun, the Seoul Southern District Court is claiming that Terra's native cryptocurrency, LUNC, formerly Luna, should not be considered a security. It is difficult to view Luna coin as a financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act, the court stated in a case involving former Terraform Labs co-CEO Hyun Shin. Up until now, Southern District Courts had floated rather cautious terminology when discussing Luna's regulatory status, using phrases such, "there is room for dispute in legal principles," and, "it is questionable whether the Capital Market Act can be applied to Luna." Ileo Shinmun, however, reports that the most recent decision uses an expression that categorically refutes the possibility of Luna being regulated as a security. The court also firmly dismissed an appeal by prosecutors against a prior decision to dismiss a confiscation request for Shin's assets. Prosecution had initially requested to seize Shin's property, most of which consists of real estate spread out across South Korea, on the grounds that the property itself had been acquired thanks to criminal activity. The court had dismissed the request for confiscation by arguing that it was difficult to see that the property subject to the claim was a property acquired by a crime or an asset derived from it. Last Friday, Terra frontman Do Kwon filed to dismiss charges brought to him by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, arguing that the U.S. regulatory agency lacked the jurisdiction to sue him. Kwon is currently being held in Montenegro, where he faces charges for document forgery. Both the United States and South Korea have expressed their intention to extradite him for prosecution. Disclosure: at the time of writing, the author of this piece owned BTC, ETH, and several other crypto assets. While the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, considers Luna, the native token of the Terra ecosystem, a security, a court in South Korea has declared that it does not have attributes of a financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act. Security violation charges against Terra co-founder dismissed. According to local reports, the Southern District Court in Seoul has dismissed charges of securities violations against the co-founder of collapsed crypto issuer, Terraform Labs Daniel Shin. The court indicated in the judgment that Luna, now LUNC, was a non-security under the Korean Capital Markets Act. South Korean prosecutors charged Shin, who left Terraform Labs in March of 2020 to focus on payments app Chai, with allegedly extracting illegal profits, as he dumped $105 million of the Luna token at a market top without notifying investors. The authorities were also seeking an arrest warrant for Shin, arguing that Luna constitutes a financial investment security. However, the judge has reportedly said, it is difficult to see Luna coin as a financial investment product regulated by the Capital Markets Act. In the latest ruling, the court also rejected the prosecutor's request to seize the accused's assets and arrest based on securities law infringements. The Seoul Southern District Court explained that it was hard to see that the property subject to the allegation had been acquired by crime or an asset derived from it. The fall of Do Kwon. Some crypto pundits thought Do Hyong Kwon, popularly known as Do Kwon, his algorithmic stablecoin Terra USD and its sister token Luna would take them to the promised land. But then the stablecoin veered away from its dollar peg. Everything unraveled. Over $50 billion evaporated. Life savings were erased. An arrest warrant had been issued for Do Kwon, who co-founded Terraform Labs with Shin in 2018. Kwon, who had been on the run from authorities since the stunning implosion of the Terra ecosystem in May 2022, was finally apprehended by Montenegrin police last month for trying to travel with a fake passport. The SEC charged the South Korean native with violating securities law following his apprehension. Notably, Kwon's lawyers are pushing to have these SEC charges dismissed. Kwon recently suffered a legal blow as a United States judge denied his plea to bar the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, from obtaining certain records related to Terraform Labs operations in Singapore. The former Terraform Labs CEO currently faces criminal fraud charges brought against him by U.S. prosecutors and charges relating to violating the Capital Markets Act back home in South Korea. Both the US and South Korea have requested the extradition of the fallen crypto star, but he will likely first face trial in Montenegro.